Hi, I'm Sean, and this is a Pokemon Challenge. There are two things here covered. Number one, the rules of the challenge, they're in the description. And number two, how was this challenge accomplished? So first up is Lorelei. In Gen 1, there's this thing called Good AI. It's used both literally and sarcastically. Good AI causes the opposing trainer to use super effective moves against your Pokemon and nothing else. Normally, this would force the AI to deal as much damage as possible to your Pokemon, but not every move in the game is a damaging move. For instance, Rest is not a damaging move. Rest is, however, a Psychic-type move. In this case, because Nidoran is a Poison-type Pokemon, it's weak to Psychic-type moves. Therefore, Dewgong is forced to use Rest, since Rest is a Psychic-type move. Thus the term Good AI is used. That's only partly the reason for why this challenge is possible. Normally Nidoran would never be able to KO Dewgong. This is because in Gen 1, enemy Pokemon have infinite power points. Dewgong knows Rest, and Nidoran can't deal enough damage to overcome the healing effect of Rest. Well, what about Horndrill? Horndrill can KO a Pokemon in one hit. Yeah, but Horndrill has a rule in Gen 1 that prevents it from working on Pokemon who are faster than the user. A level 55 Dewgong is far faster than a level 2 Nidoran. So, what can we do? We can try to reduce Dewgong's speed by paralyzing it. In Gen 1, being paralyzed reduces that Pokemon's speed by 300%. In other words, it reduces it to 1/4 of its normal value. Nidoran has Body Slam, and Body Slam can paralyze a Pokemon about 33% of the time. But even after being paralyzed, Dewgong is still faster than Nidoran. Sometimes. There are several bugs in Gen 1 that affect paralysis. Number one, being cured of status effects does not revert the associated stat penalty. In other words, if Dewgong becomes cured of paralysis, its speed stays at a fractional value. Number two, being fully paralyzed causes a speed penalty from paralysis to be applied again. This means that where normally a paralyzed Pokemon would have its speed reduced by 300%, instead its speed is reduced by 1500%. In other words, now it's only about 1/4 of 1/4, or 6.25% of its original value. In all Pokemon games, no Pokemon can be both paralyzed and asleep simultaneously. That means that whenever Dewgong uses Rest, it drops the paralyzed status effect and replaces it with sleep instead. Additionally, in Gen 1, Lorelei's level 54 Dewgong is slower than a level 2 Nidoran after being paralyzed twice. So what does this mean? This means that Dewgong cannot KO Nidoran, and Nidoran can KO Dewgong using Horndrill. Well, that would be the end of it, except that I still need to deal with Lorelei's other Pokemon. I could try to use the same trick on her other Pokemon, but Horndrill only has 8 power points, and it only has a 30% success rate, and I would still need to paralyze each of her Pokemon at least once in order to KO them with Horndrill. That doesn't sound like it would work very well. Thankfully, I don't need to use Horndrill against them because I have Toxic. Toxic allows me to deal basically unlimited damage to the opposing Pokemon with only one application. The problem is that it takes a while for Toxic to KO each Pokemon. Well, there's a move called Double Team that is banned competitively in Gen 1. It's banned because it's horribly overpowered and lets you dodge most incoming attacks with ease. Stacking Double Team is considered to be too powerful for competitive play, but it's perfectly allowed in most Pokemon challenges. And yet, even despite Double Team being overpowered, it doesn't always work. In each Pokemon game, higher level trainers tend to have noticeably higher success rates with their attacks than normal. That's especially true of the Elite Four, who seem to be able to strike through Double Team pretty regularly in my experience. So, that being said, what needs to happen in order for me to beat Lorelei here is 1. I need to apply Double Team 6 times, which is easy. 2. The Dugong needs to become paralyzed twice. That's still pretty easy, to be honest. 3. I want to KO the Dugong without eating up Horndrill's power points, which is pretty frustrating, to be honest. 4. I need Cloyster, Jinx, and Lapras to fail their accuracy checks at least 12-ish times. 5. I need to paralyze the Lapras as soon as possible. And 6. I need to KO the Lapras with Horndrill as soon as possible. The first 3 steps can be accomplished, albeit with some luck. Horndrill should, on average, KO Dugong after 3 attempts. On average, it was around 5-ish attempts that the Dugong would feint to Horndrill, which is pretty weird, to be honest. Then I need for Cloyster, Jinx, and Lapras to not KO my Nidoran. Generally speaking, it's highly unlikely that none of her Pokemon hit my Nidoran even one time. And yes, just one has to land. Nidoran is not bulky enough to take hits from any of her Pokemon. Fortunately, Cloyster's moves are somewhat low on accuracy, and Jinx tends to use Thrash, which automatically confuses her when it misses. This tends to swing this battle in my favor significantly, yet the Lapras managed to ruin my attempts over and over. But fortunately, I was able to defeat Lapras and Lorelei as well. So next is Bruno, but Bruno wasn't really programmed correctly to be able to actually, battle properly, so yeah, he doesn't matter. Let's just move on. So next is Agatha, and if I remember correctly here, Agatha is generally difficult to beat with weaker Pokemon, but Nidoking is obtained early thanks to the Moonstone, and he's significantly stronger at lower levels compared to other low-level Pokemon. The strategy here is very simple. Nidoking uses Earthquake to KO Agatha's Pokemon, minus Golbat. For Golbat, I want to say that I used Blizzard, and in order to stay alive I used Double Team. I'm pretty sure this was a very easy fight. I really don't recall it being difficult at all. So for Lance, generally he's not that difficult, but his Aerodactyl can be frustrating to deal with on occasion. His Gyarados knows Hydro Pump, which one-shots my Nidoking, and it's also faster. So, to beat Lance, I need his Gyarados to miss Hydro Pump at least one time, and then from there, I need my Nidoking to either paralyze Gyarados with Thunder, or dodge his Hydro Pump a second time, or I want to say that a Crit Thunder might have worked. I don't really remember. All things equal, I think that I had maybe about a 1 in 50 chance of winning this fight. Thankfully, I managed to bring down the Gyarados after, I want to say 3-4 attempts, something like that. Lance brings out Dragonair. Dragonair knows Agility, which is a Psychic-type move that he's locked into because it's super effective against Nidoking. Now I can set up Double Team. His next Dragonair also knows Agility, and his Dragonite knows Barrier, also a Psychic-type move. Basically, all I need to do is beat the Aerodactyl, which fortunately I'm able to do so. So much like Bruno, the champion is really not very difficult to beat. Here I set up on Pidgeot, use Thunder on Pidgeot, Earthquake on Alakazam, Blizzard on Rhydon, Thunder on Gyarados, I think, and then Earthquake on Arcanine, and then Blizzard on Venusaur. It's rare that I really struggle against the champion ever, and now is no exception. He's really not got a very balanced or good team at all in Gen 1. In conclusion, much like the previous challenge, a lot of this is RNG dependent. It's interesting to challenge the Elite Four with different low-level Pokemon to see which ones stand out compared to others. Nidoran stands out as being rough going early on and then quite powerful after evolving. Earthquake is great coverage, and so are Thunder and Blizzard. Together, these three moves give you nearly perfect coverage in Gen 1, with a few rare exceptions. Nidoran is used in the Pokemon speedrun for a reason. It's just a really, really strong Pokemon in general, and it really does stand out a lot against the Elite Four. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more.